Budweiser Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the St. Louis Gladiators and the Carolina Skyhawks. It's Monday night, and it's SFL action. Andy Hamilton along with Marcus Dunhill in the booth for Carolina and St. Louis. Marcus, neither of these two teams are having the greatest year, but both of them are looking forward to the battle tonight. What are you looking for in tonight's game?
Well, both these teams are coming towards the end of the season, but there's a lot for these players to prove. They're still collecting stats and still doing what they can to prove that they deserve these roster spots. So I'd look for both these teams to just continue to close out the year on a high note and do the best that they can and start.
China and St. Louis, but quite the battle ahead. St. Louis is wearing green. Carolina is in white with the red pants. Let us know in the chat how we are sounding for tonight's game. The coin toss is tails, and Marcus, a rookie quarterback on, and on St. Louis's side, Moody Mitchell would have hoped for a few more wins from St. Louis, but we'll see which rookie gets the better of the other one in tonight's game.
You know, as bad of a season as one may have, and I didn't have the greatest season either for my particular team, you can still spend the entire season and looking ahead and how you can build and how you're going to improve your team. So even on a bad season, there's so much you can do to get ready for what you're going to do next year.
The ball is on the tee. We are just about ready to get going here in Budweiser Stadium. Kick it away. We're underway here on Monday night. The return will come from the Carolina 10 out across the 25. Good-looking return here out to the 30-yard line for the Skyhawks. That is where Mark Biddix will set up shop for Carolina. Biddix coming back over from Vancouver in the offseason in his fourth season in the SFL for Carolina.
Biddix has been a solid passer, but he's definitely had a little bit of a turnover issue this year. Hopefully he can minimize those turnovers in this game.
That will be the goal for Carolina. Randy Mercury is back of the eye. Biddix will throw here on 1st and 10. Stands in the pocket, now pressured, evades the first one, but not the second wave. He'll go down. It's Carl Forgy on the tackle for St. Louis, and a sack will drop him for 7.
Not a lot of openings for Biddix on that particular play, but he had a lot of time from his offensive line. It just couldn't hold up long enough for him to find an open receiver. Maybe throwing that away might have been the best bet, but he wanted to see if he could find anybody open downfield, and nobody was able to get open.
So it'll be 2nd and a mile from the 23. Skyhawks going in the wrong direction. Biddix to throw here, flips it out to Mercury out of the backfield, and Mercury will pick up 2. No more than that. It'll be 3rd and 15.
Good play to try to see if you can slide a running back past some of the defenders there. They weren't able to get too much, and unfortunately that's going to bring up a 3rd and long, which means they're going to have to force the ball down the field.
No more than 2. The collection was made by Dupree Hudson, his first grab of the night, but it'll be 4th down.
Looks like Carolina is going to be punting the ball away back to St. Louis. It's kind of tough for Hudson to be able to try to pick up 13 yards over the middle like that. I think he just wanted to get any yards he could get to push this punt a little bit further forwards.
9:25 to go in the first. The first drive stalls out for Carolina. They will kick it away to St. Louis. The kick is off. The Gladiators will get the ball back at home. The return will come out.
So the rookie quarterback, see what he's going to be able to do against this Carolina defense. See whether or not they'll come out passing with their wide receivers or try to get Denzel Diaz going in the running game.
Number 1 overall pick in the rookie draft last year. We'll see who will be the number 1 overall pick in the rookie draft in this upcoming year. 3 wide for Mitchell to throw. Mitchell, open man. Oh, overthrew him a little bit. Looked like he had all the room in the world, but he could not connect with Cody Scott.
Scott ended up coming back for the football. It seemed to be a little too far, and he actually jumped for that. It was very close, but he's lucky he didn't tip that ball to any defenders. If he would have been able to catch that, I think he might have been able to turn upfield, but just a bit of a miscommunication on the offense on that play.
2 wide and a tight end for Moody Mitchell with 2 in the backfield. Denzel Diaz will dot the I, the small back who has made a name for himself in the SFL. Mitchell to throw, pressured, and he will get dropped. Carolina came in hot and heavy, and Christopher Colon makes the sack.
So far, we got a sack from each side. On the sack, when Carolina was on offense, it ended up being that they got enough time on the offensive line, but it just collapsed. And for St. Louis, the offensive line just collapsed in a matter of seconds.
4 wide here for Mitchell in the shotgun. 3 to the top of the screen. Mitchell to throw. Moves in the pocket. Hit as he threw, and it's caught! Down the field, breaking a tackle! Still down the right sideline! A big catch for Badir Ajlani!
Big play for Ajlani and Moody Mitchell. You know, when you get hit throwing that ball, there's a 50-50 chance that that ball is going to hit off target and go to one of those defenders. But it was right on target. The ball stayed exactly where it needed to be, and Badir Ajlani made a great job catching the ball and running upfield.
First and 10 from the 31. 8 minutes to go in the first. St. Louis with the big play to keep their drive alive. I formation again. They'll give to Denzel Diaz up the middle, who drags a tackler for 3. It looked like he almost was stood up in the backfield.
Looked like Diaz was able to get through some contact behind the line and did end up dragging somebody with him a couple yards forward. Did a good job of gaining a couple yards, 3 yards here on that particular play and not losing 2, actually, in the backfield.
Handoff, Diaz off the left-hand side, and he will not get further than Prasad in the backfield from the linebacking core. Shavon Prasad, one of the better linebackers in the SFL, makes the play on the shifty Diaz.
Prasad made a really good play on that edge, watched and was able to shed a block on the side and get Denzel Diaz dropped, so he wasn't able to gain more than a yard. So good play to force 3rd down.
3rd and 6 here. Shotgun look for Mitchell. He will throw. Pressured immediately and dropped immediately as well. Phil Hall came in with a head of steam and brought down Moody Mitchell.
What an amazing run in. He just did not get blocked and went straight to the quarterback. It looked like Moody Mitchell tried to duck and run out of it, but there was nowhere you could go to get away from that. So that's going to push him back even further and make it a much better punting situation for Carolina.
Yeah, actually, the sack will drop them out of field goal range, unable to attempt for any points, and St. Louis will have to punt. Down, this one will bounce at the 9, bounce again at the 6. That's a well-timed punt, and they will pin Carolina down at the 6-yard line. That's where the Skyhawks will start, and the Gladiators already had a sack on the opening drive. I'm sure they'd like to get one here if they could.
See if they keep the pressure on the Carolina offense. The Carolina offense has not yet run Randy Mercury, so it looks like they started with the passing game, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out on the first drive, so I wonder now that they're backed up so far near their own end zone if they're going to start the running game.
2 in the backfield, 2 to the top of the screen for Biddix, who is under center. Mercury is the lone back. They'll give it to him. Mercury up the middle will pick up 4 to the 11. Good carry from the rookie running back there. Underutilized this season, Marcus, but makes the impact there on 1st down.
Got to make the impact when you're needed the most. Right now, he's needed to get away from that end zone to make sure that if they have to go back for a passing play, that Biddix doesn't have to worry about a sack or anything like that. I'm sorry, a safety.
Biddix out route there. Oh, what a catch. One-handed spinning all the way around to make it was Dupree Hudson. He has come on as of late in this season.
He made a really good catch there. Unfortunately, just where the ball was placed, he wasn't able to turn upfield and go back and get to the 1st down. But he did make a good job getting it a little bit closer, and now they can go with a run if they want. They're only 2 yards out.
3 receivers out wide. They're trying to spread St. Louis out, who have only 4 in between the line of scrimmage and the sticks. 5:50 to go. Biddix to throw, tries it over the middle, and Hudson is there to make the catch to the 25, and Carolina converts.
St. Louis had a lot of pressure on him. He had to get rid of the football immediately. If Biddix had held onto the football another second, he probably would have gotten sacked. So it was good that he was able to find somebody just open enough to get rid of the football. Otherwise, you'd have to worry about an interception or throwing the ball away. So it worked out for them, and they were able to convert for a 1st down.
Mark Biddix is a perfect 4 for 4 to open tonight's game despite stalling out on the opening drive. He will throw again, fires deep down the field, and there's the first incompletion Great defensive play there. 31 was there, Ethan Kai. He has been all over the field this season, and he makes another great play there.
Kai's been making plenty of interception. He really makes those quarterbacks worry about whether or not he's going to throw to that side. And Kai did a really good job batting that ball down so that it wasn't caught. Because if they would have gotten over Kai's head, that wide receiver might have been gone. I don't know if there was another safety in the area that would have caught him.
3 receivers split out again for Biddix, who will take a short drop, hit as he flings it, and he overshot that one. I think the pressure there from Shane Masters had something to do with that overthrow.
Defense is stepping up, and ever since Biddix was 4 for 4, he's now missed 2 in a row. Unfortunately, now 4 for 6.
Yeah, commentators curse a little bit. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to do it to you. Sometimes it just happens. 3-2 look out of the St. Louis defense here on 3rd and 10, trying to get off the field. Throwing, Biddix fires. Oh, in and out of the hands of the receiver. He had it for a minute, and if you're Mark Biddix, you got to be frustrated.
Or the defenders or what, but just out of his hands, and unfortunately wasn't able to bring that in, and Carolina will be punting the ball back to St. Louis after a good defensive stand for 3 plays by St. Louis.
Not much you can do other than trying to put it on the hands of the receiver. Biddix did that, but it still fell incomplete for the 4th down punt. St. Louis will get the ball back, and they bring it out to the 42. Had some good offensive movement on the last drive, but a late sack pushed them out of field goal range, and they had to punt it back.
I believe this is going to be pretty close to the best field position that St. Louis has had all game, besides where they were in field goal range and dropped out. So they have a great start here just on the other side of their 50-yard line. Looks like about the 42.
3 backs in the backfield, 1 receiver to the bottom of the screen. They will give to Diaz, who takes it off the right-hand side and will pick up 4. Some angry running from the little man. Diaz only stands 5'6", but he packs some punch.
He got some good blocking for the line, and he was able to lower his shoulder and take down one of Carolina's defensive players as he was running through. So a really good run to help make it a much more manageable drive if they're not able to get past the line on the 2nd down.
2nd and 6 from the 46. Mitchell will dump it off to Diaz out of the backfield, and Diaz runs right into Shravan Prasad, almost like Prasad was waiting for him.
Yep, definitely watching Diaz to see if they were going to throw it down to him, and they certainly did. And a really good job by Prasad to make sure that Diaz didn't juke out of there or spin out of there, and wasn't able to get any yards, so now it's going to be 3rd down.
3rd and 6, 4 wide, Mitchell alone in the shotgun. Cornerback for Carolina on the top side of the screen is playing way off. Mitchell pressured and dropped again. Carolina brought the pressure and they got to him. Phil Hall with another sack. I believe that's his 2nd of the day.
Carolina's really making those big plays when it matters on these big 3rd down plays. It looked like St. Louis had a lot of wide receivers that potentially could have gotten open, but Carolina's defense just did not give them any time to make any kind of play. So it was a really good job pushing him back again, and it's going to force him to punt again.
Harish Prasad will go back to return the kick. St. Louis will punt it away. Carolina came after it but could not get the block. And Prasad will fair catch at the 33. I think that's the best field position Carolina has started with all day.
See what they're going to do with it here. They've had a couple good passes and a couple good runs, but none of the passes so far have been great, and none of the runs have so far been great. So they're still trying to find their groove in this game.
Biddix throwing 57% completion, which went way down from the 100% he had starting the last drive. 3 wide here. He will throw again, stands in the pocket well, and delivers that ball across the middle. It is collected. Dupree Hudson is making a name for himself so far.
That ball looked like it might have been a little bit low, but Hudson did a good job reeling that ball in and making sure that it wasn't either dropped or it wasn't taken in by any of the St. Louis defenders. So ended up being...
Mercury left side with blockers, and Mercury scoots past the 1st down. I think he got 4 there, but nothing more than that.
Good enough to get that 1st down and give you another set of downs very close to midfield. Definitely the best field position we've had for Carolina so far in this game.
First down and 10 from the 45. That is only the 4th first down for Carolina. They'll give to Mercury again, and he is cut down immediately. They'll get one. Shane Masters on the tackle.
So far for Carolina, it looks like all of their receiving yards is from Dupree Hudson. It looks like a few other wide receivers have been targeted, but none of the other wide receivers have brought in the football yet.
L.B. Allen has yet to be targeted tonight at all. We'll see if they can get him involved. 2 minutes to go here in the first. Biddix will throw this time. And, oh, that was a dangerous throw across the middle. Standing there to make the play was Ajamu Afolabi, who is a longtime veteran of the SFL, and Biddix might be lucky that...
Passing decision, but good for him it didn't end up being any worse. And now they just have third down.
3rd and 9. 4 receivers split out for Biddix to throw. Protected well, throws a wobbler down the field, incomplete. He was trying to hit Prasad, but standing there in the way to make the defensive play was Marquise Reed, who came over from Vancouver, his 4th season in the SFL. The linebacker turned strong safety, makes the deflection.
Biddix was just trying to fit that ball in a very tight space right between 2 defenders, 2 corners, and was just not able to do it. There just wasn't enough space. And, of course, Reed was able to get to the football, but it looked like, you know, depending on positioning, he might have been able to barely get the football through there, but unfortunately he just wasn't able to.
Almost blocked. St. Louis will not get the hand to it, and the return will come out to the 17, the worst field position for St. Louis tonight, as Carolina is starting to play the field position game a little bit more.
So there hasn't been a ton of passes here from Moody Mitchell so far. He's 2 for 3.
Averaging 13 yards a throw, though.
Yep, 41 yards. It's worked out, and they haven't needed to pass a whole lot, so.
Tight bunch formation, single back. The give is to Diaz, who stood behind a man and then was able to squirt through for 4. I thought he was dead to rights, caught in the backfield, but that is what you get with Denzel Diaz, a little shiftiness.
Only about 2.4 yards on average, but he's still moving when he needs to and getting the yards. So far, so good. Makes it a 2nd down and about 5 yards to pick up the first down.
2 receivers to the spot tonight, and that's his 2nd big catch, and he's out to the 38.
He's the only receiver so far for St. Louis who has caught the football as well. So he's doing a good job making sure they continue to move through the air, because so far it's 58 yards for Ajlani moving through the air and 58 passing yards for Moody Mitchell. So those 2 are the passing attack for St. Louis so far in this game.
Handoff, Diaz up the middle, and he just ran into a brick wall. Not good.
There was not a lot of room. Maybe he could have bounced out to the left, but there were still defenders over there. I think he was hoping something would have opened up, and unfortunately there just wasn't enough blocking to open up a hole for him to run through.
2nd and 10 from the 38, and time winding down in the first. Still nothing to anyone. No points on the board. 4-3 look out of the Carolina Skyhawks. Mitchell is in the shotgun and will look to sling it. Out route there is caught by Ajlani, and right in front of James Klein. He skirts out at the 42. It'll bring up 3rd and 6, and we'll stop the clock.
Time to see what they got in the bag of tricks for potentially long 3rd down plays here. See if they can pick up that first down without... last time they were in these situations, they ended up getting sacked on both drives to push them back further before they punted.
St. Louis, 33% on 3rd down, and this will be the last play of the first quarter. Mitchell pressured, and he's dropped again! Carolina, Phil Hall, have a day, son! That's the hat trick for Hall.
3rd sack, and it might have been all 3 3rd down plays before they punt. They just can't seem to get a block on him, and he just gets right through and does not give Moody Mitchell enough time to do anything. That is the 3rd drive he stopped. And now St. Louis is going to be punting it away after the end of the first quarter.
Well, that tackle looked like he was a scarecrow because he just had his arms out wide and a shocked look on his face as Phil Hall flew by him for the sack. Nothing. Carolina ends the first quarter with a sack on Moody Mitchell to get the ball back. Andy Hamilton along with Marcus Dunhill. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Punt is away. Carolina did not come after this one, and a fair catch from Prasad at the 29, and the offense will come back out. Only 5 first downs to their name, and Marcus, the stat that stands out to me when you look at the first down yards or yards per first down that the stats team keeps for us, Carolina 1.2 yards every first down, and for St. Louis only 2.2, so it's a game of inches tonight. Biddix is under center and will take a quick drop, tries the corner route, and it's caught! Prasad out there on the outside, hauls it in. What a catch to the 47.
What a great catch for Prasad for his first catch of the game. Was able to find Prasad pretty open on the right side there. Just happened to get through the coverage and made a great catch on the sideline, kept feet in, and ended up getting tackled out of bounds. But a great pickup. It looked like that was about 18 yards on that particular catch. What a play.
Right over the head of Colin Douglas, an all-pro corner who is not used to getting beat one-on-one. So a good ball from Biddix there to give Prasad a chance. And now they will line up in the shotgun again, leaning pass again. Biddix throws again quickly to Prasad on kind of a little screen play. I don't know if I like that play very much.
Yeah, as you said, this game has certainly been a game of inches so far. You know, just trying to get closer and closer and make those more manageable plays because you've seen these teams struggle on 3rd and long. So it looks like both these teams are just trying to set up potentially more manageable situations later on in the drive.
4 wide here, handoff Mercury out of the backfield, and Mercury is swallowed up. They will graciously give him forward progression, and he will only lose 1.
There was a couple blocks, but it just wasn't enough for him. He just wasn't able to get away, wasn't able to make anything out of that particular run. And now they're going to be facing 3rd and 11, and both teams have struggled a bit on 3rd down.
4 wide for Carolina. 3 to the bottom of the screen, 1 to the top for Biddix in the shotgun. He will throw. Slings the out route there. Oh, and Prasad could not get his feet. Had the room in front of him. Made the catch, but did not get much more than that.
When you're moving full speed, it's really hard to turn up field, especially when you got to go forward and get that football. And that's going to make Carolina 1 for 5 on 3rd downs.
Punt is away. And fair catch made at the 11 for St. Louis. They are getting backed up. We're just going back and forth here, Marcus, and at some point, someone's going to have to score some points.
Yep, St. Louis has definitely had some struggles when it comes to moving the football, and they've been able to move it a little bit, but then when it would come to 3rd down, it seems like they would just get shut down pretty quickly, unfortunately. So let's see if they get anything out of their bag of tricks to see if they can get past that Carolina defense.
4 wide here for Diaz in the backfield and Mitchell under center. The throw is to the outside. Oh, they gave him the catch. I don't know. We'll have to check the feet. Cody Scott makes the grab for now. We'll see. What did you think, Marcus? First play.
It was hard to tell. It was very close. Let's see if one of these teams are going to... let's see if Carolina decides they want to challenge that play or not.
Yeah, I don't think St. Louis will be challenging to say he was out. They might
Right.
They might have gone the other way if they would have called him out, but no challenge from Carolina just yet. Bunch formation here, a 4-3 look out of the Skyhawks in the red pants. Mitchell, oh, he's going to run for it here and slides, giving himself up at the 26. That's what you get out of a first overall pick, the awareness to move up in the pocket and make the run.
You definitely don't see that. That really caught me off guard. That was a great run by Moody Mitchell, knowing he had to get out of there, not get sacked, and enough awareness to pick up that first down. You don't see a whole lot of running in this league from the quarterbacks, and that was a really good pickup.
Twins to the top of the screen. Another 4-3 look out of Carolina. Mitchell tries to carve him up down the middle, and it's deflected away. Nice job on the Carolina side of the ball by DJ Majesty, the interior linebacker who came over from Alaska.
Moody Mitchell's really trying to make all the plays on offense, it seems. Running through when nobody's open, trying to force the ball into areas where he probably shouldn't necessarily be trying to force the football. Just trying to make plays happen, and so far on that particular play, it wasn't able to work out for him.
Mitchell to throw, slings it down the middle. Oh, a diving catch is made. Ajlani is having a night, and he calls that one in, now up to 80 yards.
That was a close one. I wasn't sure myself whether he had gotten that or if he had dropped it. It looked like he had gotten hit, but it looks like he was able to maintain possession of the football as he went to the ground. Just a great job of holding on to that football as he took a hit.
3 wide, 4 down linemen for Carolina with Mitchell in the shotgun with Diaz along with the fullback flanking him here. Mitchell fires again down the middle and again. Badir Ajlani answers the call. Carolina so far can't defend the deep middle of the field.
So far, Cody Scott, who is a tight end, does have 5 receiving yards, but all the other yards on offense for the receivers has come from Badir Ajlani. He's got 110 yards on passing, and that's almost all the passing yards that Moody Mitchell has besides 5.
Mitchell to sling it again outside, and that one is caught by Nick Finch.
Can definitely see Moody Mitchell trying to get everybody involved in this offense as they move down the field, and now they have their best field position of the game. They're in field goal range. They definitely want to avoid getting knocked backwards. So let's see if they can move further towards the end zone and see if Carolina's defensive line are going to start putting the pressure on the quarterback.
2nd and 5 at the 21, just a little over 7 minutes to go in the second. Handoff Diaz. Oh, and Diaz is bottled up.
That did not catch Carolina off guard. They were ready for that run, and they did a good job knocking him backwards. Fortunately for Diaz, it's going to be a loss of a couple, and now it's going to set up a bit of a 3rd down here. And 3rd down has not been the specialty of St. Louis so far in this game.
No, it has not. 3rd and a manageable 6. But let's see if they're able to pull it off. High snap, corralled by Mitchell, fires out route. Oh, a great defensive play there coming up to make the stop and put the hand to it. Bat Hilliard, the free safety, made the break on the ball and was able to get just enough on it to force this 4th and 6.
So far, it's been great defense by Carolina. On that particular play, the defensive line wasn't able to get the pressure, so a free safety was able to pick up the slack on that play and stop them from converting on that 1st down and having him settle for an attempt of 3 points.
So from the 22, it would be about a 38, 39-yard attempt. The kick is up, and it is good from 39 right down the middle, and St. Louis will take a 3-0 lead over the Carolina Skyhawks.
First points in our particular game, it was a really good drive by St. Louis, and Ajlani did a great job moving them down the field, and it all worked out. They were able to get the points. It wasn't quite what they had been looking for. They were definitely looking for the end zone, but in this type of game where the defenses are playing such strong football, 3 points is a good way to start.
And if you're Carolina, you can't get too discouraged. You really just had one guy you had to try and keep an eye on, Badir Ajlani. Other than that, it was doing pretty well. Return here from Prasad. Oh, had a little bit of room, made a nice move in the hole to make a guy miss. Gets out to the 34, and that might just be the spark that the Skyhawks need.
We've seen a lot of good things so far from Carolina's offense. They've been moving the ball a bit. Not quite as much as St. Louis, but they're moving the ball through the air, and I think that's where they're going to be most effective in this game.
2 to the top of the screen for Biddix under center. 4-3 look to start the drive out of the Gladiators. Biddix wants the deep ball, and he's got it down the middle of the field. Dupree Hudson to the 34. Hudson says, Ajlani, anything you can do, I can do just as well.
Great play by Hudson and Biddix to make sure they found space for that football, and now that's going to bring That's going to bring Mark Vidics up to about 70 yards on this particular game, passing through the air, and it's going to put Carolina in some great field position.
First and 10 from the 34, 5:50 to go before the halftime break. Two in the backfield, they'll give to Mercury, and the man coming off the edge makes the tackle. Bo Knowles, the outside linebacker, broke quickly and made the play on Mercury to stop him at the line.
Really good pursuit on the running back there, bringing down Mercury, making sure he didn't get anywhere, and did not get fooled, and was very quickly to bring Mercury down to the ground.
Hand off Mercury again here on 2nd and 10, and he picks up 6. Some strong running up the middle. Might have caught St. Louis off guard a little bit.
Yeah, running so far hasn't been the best for Carolina. They're averaging about 2.3 yards per carry, but when you're least expecting it, you know, even when you're getting a couple yards per carry, you can break one up for a little bit longer, and it's now going to be a manageable 3rd down for Carolina.
Vidics firing again, down the seam, and it's caught there, nicely collected by L.B. Allen III. There was traffic all around him, but somehow he came down with the football.
There were players from Carolina in the area. There were plenty of players from St. Louis in the area, and it felt like that ball just stayed in the air for about 10 seconds as it came down. And I was very worried that one of the St. Louis players was going to cut in front of it for Carolina and take that ball away, but it worked out very well for Carolina.
Yeah, I'm sure as a QB, that was your worst nightmare just there. Twins top of the formation for Vidics. Pressure coming late. He fires away, and Prasad will pick up 7 on the opening catch of that first down, and they're down to the 4. Carolina's got something cooking.
Now they are where they should probably be running. They're only about 4 yards out, and they got to find a way to get into that end zone. You can either run and see if you can get in with Mercury, or you can try to see if you can trick them with the passing play, but you do not want to make any mistakes when you're this close to the end zone.
Randy Mercury, 6'1", 222, takes the handoff right side. Randy Mercury is into the end zone, and the Skyhawks push in front.
That was some amazing vision by Mercury, cutting over the right side, following his blockers, had perfect blocks all the way to the end zone. Easy way for him to score. It looked like somebody tried to make a tackle there and just couldn't make it, kind of fell over and wasn't able to reach Mercury. So Mercury did a really good job here, and now Carolina's going to be up by 6 points, see if they can make that extra point and make it up to 7.
So it was 3-6 currently, with the opportunity to be 3-7 as long as Carolina can add this extra point, and they will take the road lead by 4 if they can put this one through. Low snap. Oh, almost blocked, but it is up and good. Carolina up by 4, 7-3 overall. 2 really good drives back to back.
Yep, we've seen some really good stuff from both teams. It shows that there's a lot of life from both sides, but both defenses are still playing good football. So now we're just going to have to see how the end of this half comes to a close and see which team can make the most of the last couple minutes remaining in this quarter.
Carolina will kick off. St. Louis will get the ball back here with 3:49, 3 timeouts to work with before the halftime break. The return from Swaim will come out to the 30, and that is where Moody Mitchell will come back out. 72% completion percentage to this point.
We have seen the best offense of this game out of St. Louis in the last drive, so hopefully they stick with what works here and continue to move down the field. Neither team have been running a whole lot. I don't know here if we have even more than about 15, 20 yards per team yet on the running game.
Handoff, Diaz, right side, makes a man miss, and he is going to get out to the 36. Only a 6-yard play, but that stiff arm was tremendous.
So after that play, it looks like 15-18 when it comes to yards. Neither team's running game is quite where it needs to be, but both running backs are doing a good job picking up a few yards here and there to make the throws more manageable for their quarterback.
4 wide here. Mitchell is under center. 2nd and 4. They will give to Diaz, and he is stuffed there. Carolina read that one very well and did not let him get further than a yard. Trevon Prasad was right there.
On the previous play, Diaz was able to get loose and get a few yards, but Carolina was ready for him the second time and did an amazing job following Diaz and making sure they kept him behind the line.
4-3 look out of the Skyhawks here on 3rd and 4, trying to get off the field after just taking the lead, in case you're tuning out and into other games. Mitchell throwing the out route there with the feet inbounds. They're going to say yes. Ajlani makes the catch right in front of the head coach. I don't know about that one.
Well, I knew he definitely had an opportunity to get that football, and it was either going to be out or not, but the defender was trailing him a little bit too far to make any kind of play on that. So it looks like Carolina's going to let it go and not worry about potentially losing a timeout if it's held.
I don't know. With 2 minutes to go in the second, I would throw the flag. I mean, what have you really got to lose here? They'll flip it out to Diaz, and Diaz will get 6. I mean, when you think about it, Marcus, if he's out of bounds, you get the ball back with plenty of time, and if he's inbounds, you're right back where you are now, and in reality, Carolina might not get the ball back in this half.
I think they're just betting on their defense and hoping that they have the extra timeouts to give their offense some extra time to work with. So, there's still plenty of time left, and they can definitely make some stops, but it really shows that they put a lot of emphasis on their defense, saying, we're going to be able to stop you here.
Well, fine, Marcus, whatever you say. 2nd and 4 down the field. That is caught. Again, who else but Ajlani is showing these fans exactly what it means to be a St. Louis Gladiator. He's down to the 35.
And so far, that exchange of not challenging is definitely working out for St. Louis because they're continuing to move the ball, and now they're moving right back into field goal range. So maybe it would have been a good job for Carolina to challenge that particular play.
And that will bring us to the Quip 2-minute warning. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Two minutes to play. St. Louis down by 4, but they are driving here. Carolina trying to put the cap on this drive and stop St. Louis from getting any further, and they'll stop Diaz dead in his tracks there. Quip Design delivers simple ways to keep your mouth healthy with time vibrations. Brush head refills for $5, refilled every 3 months. You are covered for life with free shipping for life. Try for 30 days and support the SFL with the promo code in the scroll below. A portion of your purchase will support the SFL broadcasters. Quip, a more wholesome clean. Mitchell with a clean pocket there will check down to Diaz off the right-hand side, and Diaz picks up 5. And it'll be 3rd and 4 at the 29 with Carolina trying to get off the field again.
Time to watch that clock as the clock continues to tick down. You wonder why Carolina's not potentially taking any of their timeouts now if they think they're going to get a stop to try to preserve some of the clock, or St. Louis is going to continue to eat up that clock.
Mitchell pressured, gets away. Oh, it's caught by Ajlani. Oh, they're going to say short. I don't know. I thought he caught it behind the line. Then he ran backwards. But then on the tackle, I thought he got the ball back over the line. Marcus, your thoughts?
It looked to me like he caught it just right on the line or just over the line and then ended up going forward, which was essentially backwards, I suppose, and lost that forward progress, turned around, and fell just short of the line.
It's anyone's guess now, and I'm sure the chat will be talking about that here as St. Louis will line up for the field goal attempt with 60 seconds on the clock, 4th and inches. Kick is up, and it is good from 42 yards out. St. Louis draws within 1. It'll be 7-6.
Being a 1-point game is going to be good for St. Louis going into halftime. Now it's time for them to see what their defense can do and stop Carolina from getting anywhere near the end zone or field goal range before they go into the locker room. It looks like Carolina is going to get about 56 seconds, and they still have all 3 timeouts to try to do something. You saved all your timeouts, so you better make good use of them, Carolina.
St. Louis to kick, and Carolina, will return. Prasad is out across the 25. Nice little spin move will bring him out to the 30, and that is where we'll see Mark Biddix and company coming on out. 11 of 16 is Biddix for 112 yards. His leading receiver is Dupree Hudson.
probably not going to be able to run as much on this drive. You're going to be running your 1-minute offense, which is get down the field as quickly as possible, but you still need to make safe throws and safe plays because the secondary of St. Louis will make you pay if you make any mistakes.
2 wide for Biddix, both to the top. He will throw. It looks like he's got a man on the corner route. Oh, and he overthrew him, and it's picked off. Coming in to make the play, soaring onto your screen, was Ethan Kai. It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Kai with the pick.
I told you that secondary would make you pay if you made a mistake, and it looked like it got just overthrown or maybe a little too far to the right, and Kai was able to jump right in front of it and take it away. The exact kind of play St. Louis wanted, because now look where they are. They're just over the 50-yard line, and now they're the ones with about 48 seconds left in the game. Or I'm sorry, in the half, to make some kind of play, get into field goal range, to get 3 more points before half.
When you almost can't blame Biddix. I mean, I was saying that the guy looked open throwing the ball, and Biddix just overthrew him just enough for Kai to come over the top and make the play, and that is a first down throw to the 34. I believe it was Tito Moss with the catch.
So far in the second quarter, it's really been a St. Louis quarter, and I know Carolina was able to score in the second quarter, but on offense and defense, it just seems like St. Louis is really bullying and pushing Carolina around the field.
2 wide here from the 34. Mitchell to throw again, just to check down to Diaz. Diaz ran right in to the open arms of the defender there, ran right into Bo Rivers Monroe. Mitchell to throw again, stands in the pocket, floats one far side. That was a danger.
I'd have been a little worried about that clock ticking down, and I think he forced that throw that he normally wouldn't have because he knew he's running out of time, and unfortunately, it was very close to getting picked off, and now they got to do something, move a little bit further forward to try to make this field goal.
It would be a 51, 52-yarder from here, and it's going to be even longer than that if they wanted to attempt it. Coming right up the middle was Bo Rivers Monroe, and he just drops Moody Mitchell.
What a day for the defensive line for Carolina. 4 sacks so far, and they're really, really pushing St. Louis around, especially on those big third down plays when St. Louis really needs those yards.
St. Louis will kick. Prasad is deep. He will run out and not return this one, and St. Louis will take it down to the 3-yard line. It won't matter. That is the halftime score. Carolina 7, St. Louis 6. We'll step aside and be right back. It's the SFL Network, brought to you by APM Music, live on YouTube. Back in Budweiser Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri, the St. Louis Gladiators play host to the Carolina Skyhawks. Andy Hamilton along with Marcus Dunhill in the booth. 7-6 Carolina on top on the road. They will kick those. St. Louis will have the opportunity with the ball first. Marcus, defensive first half, and so far Carolina's on top.
It's really been a good defensive battle for both teams, as well as pretty much an air show. You know, both teams have found some good passing plays, the ability to get the wide receivers open. Both teams have over 100 passing yards, and both teams have less than 30 yards to the ground. So the run defense has been really, really stout for both teams so far, and this is really a game where through the air is pretty much the only way either of these teams are getting things done.
Charles Doty is on the stats for us. Always want to thank him for all the hard work he is doing along with the rest of the stats team. If you want to get involved in the SFL, the stats team is the best place to start. Bar down, I definitely agree with that. Diaz off the right-hand side gets just one to the 31, and that will be how we open up the second half.
That was an awfully interesting pitch over to Diaz. He happened to be extremely close to Moody Mitchell, and I was surprised he ended up pitching it away so close to where he was. Probably didn't want to take a sack and just said, "Here, you take it."
Sometimes you just got to unload it and let someone else take the hit. Second and 9, handoff Diaz. Oh, with a good block down the middle. Diaz off the left side. Does he have the speed? Diaz out across the 20, and he is brought down at the 14, and undoubtedly that is the movement ever scroll block of the game.
He did a really good job. The defensive line moved in on him, and he just had enough speed to get right through, and the blocks opened up, and Diaz just ran right through. He just didn't have enough space to be able to get to the end zone, but what an amazing play.
Nick Finch with the block of the game presented by Everscroll. We'll get to the read after this play, but for now, it's 1st and 10 from the 14. Mitchell to sling it. Mitchell out to Diaz, right side with a blocker in front of him. With 2 blockers to the pylon! Denzel Diaz is in, and St. Louis jumps in front.
I watched that play develop, and I said, man, if he can get those blocks, this is going to go really well. The first block was picked up great, and I wasn't sure if he was going to outrun his blocker on the second one, but just enough time for his blocker to make a second block, and it worked perfectly for him as he made his way all the way to the end zone. And after just 2 runs, has an incredible amount of yards and a touchdown. What a way to start the second half for St. Louis. Already up to 73 rushing yards. Most of it through that one drive.
2 great blocks for Diaz on that drive. Speaking of a great block, Everscroll by movement blocks blue light to protect your eyes from digital screens. Don't hurt your eyes by checking out SFL action. Protect them and see every moment by using the promo link in the scroll below. A portion of your purchase goes to support SFL broadcasters. Movement, premium watches, sunglasses, and accessories. This is the Simulation Football League live on YouTube, presented by APM Music, as well as Extraordinary Everest, your messages delivered. Bit Central, powered by Fuel, our new media team will use them. Harry's Razors, a close, comfortable shave, and many more, which we will get to later in the broadcast. Prasad will bring that out to the 33, and Carolina takes back over.
We saw St. Louis open up that running game on that last drive, get a couple really great runs for a touchdown. I would like to see Carolina open up that playbook a bit and see if they can get some more yards for Randy Mercury, who so far only has 18 in this game.
First and 10 from the 33. Biddix will take a deep drop, throws outside, and that, they're going to say he was in bounds. Hudson will pick up 3. I don't know about that one.
That one looked out to me, but maybe the refs had a better view than we did. We have not had a challenge yet in this game, and it doesn't look like we're going to get one here either.
I don't know if the coaches made a vow not to use the red flag, or whether whether they just left the hanky at home or what's going on, but that play will stand, and Randy Mercury will get dropped in the backfield. Shane Masters immediately met him in the backfield.
Good pursuit out of St. Louis, making sure that Mercury didn't go anywhere, and Mercury just is not able to find any openings to get through so far on this St. Louis defense, really holding him back, which is great run defense for St. Louis.
Biddix to throw, 3rd and 10, fires down the middle. He would have had him, but Marquise Reed rises up and makes the play, and that'll force a 4th down out of the Skyhawks.
Not only did Reed make a play like he did earlier in the game, that was very close to being intercepted, and I thought just like Kai got in front of that football, I thought Reed might have been able to take that one away as well, and, you know, he wasn't able to, and it's going to be a punt, so St. Louis is getting the ball back anyway, but man, that was so close. Just one of those situations where Biddix's heart probably stopped for a second.
It's a 6-point lead for the St. Louis Gladiators, and they will get the ball back, which is always where you want the ball when you have the lead in your own hands. From the 33, that is where Moody Mitchell will bring the team back out for their second drive of this second half.
So we've seen from St. Louis, they can definitely pass the ball at 180 passing yards, and from last drive, they showed us they can run the ball. So now it's time to see whether they're going to make a mix of both, put it together, or if they try to continue the running game that worked so well on the last drive.
3 receivers split out, 4 down linemen for the Skyhawks. Mitchell had time and fires and delivers to Nick Finch on the outside. That one is complete to the 44. Nick Finch, a silent assassin on the outside tonight, doing his work when called upon.
Yep, he's only been called upon twice, but in those 2 times, he's done a good job getting yards and first downs for his team. He's really done a great job so far. As long as he continues to get those catches when they need him to, it looks like Ajlani is going to pick up some of the other slack in this game, and it's so far working for him.
3 receivers split out. Mitchell out route there, wide open for Ajlani, and he skirts his way up the sideline to the 45. A well-aware move to turn on a dime.
That was so close to him going out of bounds, and I was actually quite surprised that he made that turn upfield. And, you know, that's why he's got 146 yards on this game, because he's a wide receiver who can make those kinds of turns and those kinds of plays.
1st and 10 from the 45. Handoff, Diaz off the right-hand tackle. Diaz makes one man miss and then picks up 4 before being brought down by Prasad.
Good field position again for St. Louis here, and you know they're doing a really good job on this particular drive, even this particular half. They're playing very, very well in offense and defense. They're just on the other side of the 50, and they're just on the edge of field goal range yet again.
Prasad leads the Carolina defense with 5 tackles and has been doing the most work tonight. Handoff, Diaz up the middle. He almost ran about 9 or 10 yards there, only to pick up 2 or 3. He was juking all over the place.
Yeah, got to do what you can to get those yards and keep moving forward.
Well, one of the hardest parts about Denzel Diaz is he kind of hides behind those big offensive linemen at 5'6". You really got to make an effort to remember where he is on the field. Mitchell to throw again here. Quick dump below, and Tito Moss hauls it into the 28. It looks like St. Louis sent everyone deep. Moss ran an underneath route and just ended up being open.
Try to see if they could get all of Carolina to back up. The offensive line did a very good job blocking on that play, and Moss was able to get open, you know, good 10 yards down the field. It worked very well for them.
Handoff, Diaz stretches it. Oh, and it'll get dropped in the backfield. I got nervous when he started stretching it out wide, and Larry Bain caused that nervousness because he was right there.
Diaz just trying to get around that side, and if he could have done it and maybe got past people, he might have been able to get some good yardage on that play, but Carolina just did not let him get the edge on that run.
2nd and 13. Mitchell checks down to Diaz, and Diaz gets just a yard. That was a very short check down there by Mitchell.
He dropped back pretty far and then dumped the ball back up to the line of scrimmage. It looked like a 5-yard pass and ended up going straight back to the line.
3rd and 12. From here, it would be a 46, 47-yard field goal. Mitchell pressured and dropped! Carolina! An incredible play there to drop the Gladiators out of field goal range. It's Ezekiel Hayes who actually backs up Bo Rivers Monroe, but was in on that one, makes the sack.
So many sacks from Carolina on 3rd down to push them out of field goal range to punt. I'm gonna say that's the 4th or 5th. I know they have plenty of sacks, but that's the 4th or 5th time that they've sacked him specifically on 3rd down to force a longer punt. It's just been great defensive line play on 3rd down for Carolina.
Points off the board for St. Louis, but they will pin Carolina back at their own 4-yard line with 5:05 left in the 3rd. We are going back and forth in this low-scoring defensive affair.
Carolina's not quite putting it together on offense to get those yards and points, but the defense is really holding up for Carolina to make sure that they stay in this football game.
2 receivers to the top of the screen, 4-3 look out of St. Louis. They'll shift the linebackers to the right, handoff Mercury, and he ran right into the open arms of Ajamu Afolabi. He'll get 1.
You can see the difference in the running game so far, Diaz and Mercury. 5.5 yards per carry for Diaz, 1.8 for Mercury, and the running game for Mercury has just not gotten going.
2 receivers, bottom of the screen. Mercury, the lone back in the backfield. Another 4-3 look out of the Gladiators. The give to Mercury off tackle, left-hand side with a block, and Mercury will pick up 7. Good run from him to get him outside to the 12. A little bit more breathing room and a very manageable 3rd and 2.
That's definitely what you want to do. You want to give your quarterback plenty of breathing room to make sure that they don't get sacked, don't get safetied. And he did a really good job following his block to get those yards and making it a short play. Now it's time to see if he's called upon to pick up the 2 yards for the 1st down here.
They need to get to the 14.5-yard line. 4:05 left to go in the 3rd. Biddix pressured and dropped. St. Louis brought the heat, and they got to him. Mo Biggins brings him down for the sack.
We got a lot of sacks going on in this game from both sides, honestly. In this particular game, it's been really well defensive line for all these teams. Looks like that might have been the 3rd sack of the day for for St. Louis. And now the ball is going to go back to them, and they're going to have some really good field position off this punt.
Well, I hope you like defense, folks, because so far tonight we've got plenty of that, but not a lot of offensive fireworks. This punt is away, and St. Louis will have the return. Oh, he gets demolished! Carolina was all over that, and they'll be down at the 41. What a hit!
Sometimes I wonder why the SFL punt returners don't know about fair catches, because that's a situation where you'd probably want a fair catch and not get knocked over immediately when you catch the football.
Yeah, that guy got up and didn't know what day of the year it was, much less where he's playing and who he's playing for. He just looked up and thought he was playing for the Santa Fe Gorillas. 3 in the backfield, handoff off the left side. Diaz puts one man to the turf. Man, I tell you what, Diaz might only be 5'6", Marcus, but he's got some punch.
He is a tough runner, and he'll take people with him or go through people if he has to. You know, for such a small running back, he's got a lot more power than you would expect.
Second and 6. Mitchell will change the play and look to throw. Out route there to Finch. That is out of bounds, and I think that one was called correctly.
That was a very close one, but it just was not enough to get a foot in, and I do believe that was a good call as well. I just was waiting to see whether or not they would be able to stay in bounds, and unfortunately they were not.
Third and 6, Mitchell trying to stay on the field, fires a wide open receiver, and how in the world did Badir Ajlani find himself alone in the middle of the field?
It was very good for St. Louis that the offensive line gave him enough time to make that throw, because on all of his other third downs, it looks like nobody stayed with him, and he ran wide open over the middle of the field. And then one of the Carolina defenders was able to run in and get him. But what an amazing play to make sure that they move up the field and did not lose field position on third down.
What a throw, and if there's one man you should be guarding tonight, it's Badir Ajlani, because they just keep firing for him. And they will try and hit him again. No, excuse me, that's Finch. Finch will catch it for 3. The 14 and the 11 sometimes can look similar when you're trying to get it at a glance, Marcus. I hope you'll forgive me.
Definitely can, and if you look at the receiving yards for this team, only one receiver has over 20 yards, and that's Ajlani, and he's got 172.
Three backs in the backfield, one receiver to the top of the screen for Mitchell, who hands to Diaz, and Diaz had a little bit of a prance in the park, and he picks up 5 or 6. It'll be 3rd and 3 from the Carolina 4.
Good blocks and a good mix of speed and power as he's able to pick up 4 yards and make it even closer. Now they got to figure out a way to convert this first down and or get into the end zone.
I like this spread him out here, and Mitchell will throw, and there's a wide open man at the back of the end zone. Touchdown, St. Louis. Badir Ajlani is there, and he makes the grab. And I was just going to say, Marcus, when you spread them out, they're going to be looking for Diaz, and they might lose one of the receivers.
I was very worried about whether or not he'd be able to keep his feet in. He was certainly there, but look how close to the back of the end zone he was standing when he caught that football. I was wondering if his feet were already touching out of bounds before he even tried to catch it. But it looks like they're going to give it to him. It's not going to be challenged, and they're going to go for the extra point.
The booth reviews all scoring plays, and the booth gave the green light. And Daniel, who has the Miami Hurricanes avatar, says, "What is this?" The Simulation Football League. You can check us out, simulationfl.net. Join our Discord for the opportunity to become a player and get on the field and make an impact for one of these teams. The SFL Rookie Draft is coming up. The next season will start in July, and we have playoffs right around the corner. Marcus, I could not be more excited for the SFL playoffs.
The playoffs are going to be great. You know, I wish my team was in it, but we can save that for a future playoff.
Let's.
But if you want to see some good football,
let's not go and talk about who's in and who's out. We'll leave that alone for tonight. You know, we'll just enjoy, you and me, a game between Carolina and St. Louis. How about that?
Sure, sounds good, Andy.
All right, 20-7. St. Louis on top. Carolina, though, has the firepower to get back into this one. The question is, can they?
I would like to see them make a game out of this, make it a close game. You know, I think everybody would love to see some good football from both sides.
Handoff here. Oh, Mercury immediately tackled. St. Louis was there right away.
St. Louis just got through that line immediately. You know, for a second, I wondered where the offensive line was, because it looked like the defensive line for the defensive line for St. Louis was the offensive line for Carolina. I did not expect him to get to the running back that quickly.
Second and 12 from the 29. Biddix to throw. Short throw. Oh, that should have been caught. Carolina has got to be frustrated with that one. In and out of the hands of Cameron Walsh.
That's just one of those plays where it's an easy couple 3 or 4 yards if you're able to make that catch. And if it's not contested in any way, you're expected to come down with that catch. So it's a little bit unfortunate, and it's going to make it a little bit tougher for Carolina now on third down to try to convert this first down.
4 wide here, bunch to the top for Biddix, who's pressured. He throws a corner out wide open. Prasad, one-handed catch down the sideline in a foot race 20, and he will get brought down at the 17. But Harish Prasad was down the field, and I thought he might have a chance.
Prasad was just able to outrun his defender at the corner on that side, and it was amazing. A good throw by Biddix. one-handed catch. It potentially could have been just a little bit overthrown, but Prasad did an amazing job catching that football. And man, did he run after he got that. That's going to give Carolina great field position there within the red zone here. And they can make a game out of this if they're going to be able to get a touchdown coming up here.
Prasad up over 90 yards today on 5 catches, targeted 9 times, so a couple incompletions there. But on 1st and 10, Biddix will throw again. Sidearm here. That is caught on the outside. Oh, they're going to say he was out. I don't know about that one. Might be worth the red flag here.
I probably would challenge that as well. It definitely looked like he caught it, and I thought he had some room in bounds.
And there it is, a Harry's close shave, close call challenge. Let's take a look, Marcus. I thought he was in at full speed.
Definitely be easier to see here on this replay. So let's take a look here as this replay comes in. So a throw over to the left side. Are we going to get a view on this one?
Oh,
he definitely has one foot in.
He is in. If this one is called out, I don't know what's going to happen, but Budweiser Stadium might drop their beer. And that is in. I'm sure the fans don't like it, but it is called in, and it's the right call made by Ref 62. From shave sets to handles, Harry's provides quality craftsmanship made in Germany. More than 600 engineers, designers, craftsmen, and chemists make Harry's products from the finest materials and ingredients to ensure that they perform as well as they possibly can. Use the promo link in the scroll below. A portion of your purchase supports SFL broadcasters. Harry's official razor of the SFL. Handoff Mercury, and he is beheaded at the 6-yard line. Good hit. Shane Masters has been all over Ray Mercury tonight.
Randy Mercury just has not found an opportunity to get into this game, unfortunately. But now that they're this close, they definitely got to make something out of this drive, especially with getting that play overturned and getting the first down.
That will end the third quarter, 7-20, a 13-point difference, but there's still plenty of time in this one. Carolina down, St. Louis on top, but the Skyhawks are knocking at the door. 11 minutes on the clock. Get your fours up. Three wide here, Mark Biddix under center. He will get hit as he threw, was lucky to get that one off and survive for third down. Shane Masters was right there again.
Yep, if your arm's moving forward, it's going to be an incomplete pass, and it didn't come down as a sack either, so probably the best of both worlds for Carolina. Unfortunately, in that particular situation, better to be incomplete than just about anything else that could have been.
Go ahead, Marcus, sing the Hannah Montana song. I know you know it.
I do not.
Oh, all right, sure. Biddix here fires, corner of the end zone! Caught and held on to Dupree Hudson! Talk about a man's catch right over Ethan Kai.
Hudson and Prasad are really fighting it out for, the number one wide receiver for Carolina in this particular game, and Hudson said, you know what, I'm taking the lead from you on this particular one here with the touchdown. Great touchdown catch, finding him wide open on the right side, and that's going to make it a bit of a closer football game. Now, if they're able to get this extra point, we're looking at only a 6-point game.
(13-20), extra point could make it a 6-point game with 10:54 left to go in the fourth. Snap was beautiful. The kick is through. Carolina draws within 6, and St. Louis is on their heels here. They will get the ball back, though.
Putting the pressure back on St. Louis here in the fourth quarter. St. Louis has done a good job moving the football and getting those scores in the second half, and now they're going to have to continue to do that because they don't want to give the ball back to Carolina when they're only down 6, because one score and a touchdown could be enough to end the game for them if they are not able to continue to add points.
The SFL is brought to you by MediaTek Institute, Matt Doyle Designs, MeUndies, the world's most comfortable underwear, and many more, which we will continue to get throughout tonight's broadcast, as well as ScoreStream, the SFL scoring update app of the SFL. Current games around the league: Denver is up 19-0 over the Indianapolis Spitfire. Tallahassee up 17-13 over the San Francisco Sharks. So a pretty close night all around the league as we finish out Week 12 and head next week into the SFL Blitz Week 13, and we'll continue to talk about that after Denzel Diaz gets flattened there at the 31. Marcus, the Blitz next week, are you looking forward to it on the front page?
I am. We had SFL Blitz a bit earlier in the year, and these SFL Blitz games that are going to be on Sunday are all the games that make a big impact on teams making it to the playoffs or how the seeding for teams already in the playoffs. So it's going to be quite a week to see how all these games shake out and where all these teams are going to end up in the playoff picture.
Should be interesting. That'll be on the 31st, which I believe is next Sunday, as Diaz flattened again. Looks like St. Louis is trying to get this clock rolling, but it didn't quite work. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Yep, they are going to move the clock a little bit, but they're also going to not move as far down the field as they need to, because now they need to convert without giving that ball back. You know, that's the bad thing. You don't want to make the concession of clock for not moving yards, because then you have to give the ball back to the other team.
4 receivers split out play action. Late blitz, and it's brought down. Christopher Colon came on the delay, and he got there. Moody Mitchell was staring right at him if you watch after the play action.
Man, so he's just able to break through. Moody just tried to spin out, and he almost got out of there. It was incredibly close, and he just could not do it. That is the 7th sack today for Carolina, their defense as a whole.
And the Skyhawks get the Gladiators off the field, and we'll get the ball back after this punt. Prasad will return it, and he will take it out across the 45 to the 46, and the Skyhawks have really good field position with 9 minutes to go.
Time to see what they can do here. They did a really good job moving up the field and getting the touchdown on the last drive. They went to Prasad for a great gain, and then Hudson for the touchdown. So getting both receivers in over 75 yards and involved in this offense.
Mark Biddix, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 15 of 24, and he will throw here on 1st and 10 and completes there. Dupree Hudson across the 49, a 5-yard catch.
Good play, good catch, but you have to be worried. You don't want any opportunity for St. Louis to get ahead of that football, and I thought for a second maybe they were going to on that particular play. But it ended up being a 5-yard gain, and it brings them a little bit closer to midfield.
Co-owner Dwayne Schindler in the chat calling for a turnover. We'll see if they can make it happen here. 2nd and 5 from the 49. Biddix under center. Handoff Mercury left side, and he is dropped. Randy Mercury is struggling tonight despite the 1 touchdown.
Some games are running games, some games are passing games, and that's okay as long as you can keep efficiency on one or the other. You'll probably be doing all right. This just hasn't been a running game, and that's okay.
6-point difference here, 3rd and 8. St. Louis trying to get the Skyhawks off the field. Biddix under center. They're only 30% on 3rd down. Biddix fires down the middle, and it's broken up. Nice defensive play there. Marquise Reed was right there, 6'2", 225, and he made the pass deflection to cause a 4th down.
Biddix had to make the throw because there was an unblocked rusher on the right side coming in. He did have a couple more seconds, maybe 1 or 2 more seconds to hold on to the football and make a better throw, but I think he saw that rusher coming and said, yep, we're getting the ball out of there. And, you know, it was a good job by St. Louis to be all over that. Just did not give Biddix enough time to make any play.
The 4th and 8 from the 48 will bring out the punting unit. And with 8:06, they will kick it back to the St. Louis Gladiators, who will try and protect the 6-point lead at home. Snap was a little off to the left. St. Louis did not come after it. And the kick will come down, and the return will come out to the 18. Andy Hamilton along with Marcus Dunhill and Charles Doherty in the stat room for us. Well, it's been a close defensive battle so far, and so far St. Louis is on top by 6.
St. Louis has just been a little more efficient in the passing and running game, although both teams have done really well passing. It looks like St. Louis has about 50 more passing yards, and then on the ground they have about 65 or so more running yards.
Mitchell pressured, shakes one, but won't shake the second wave. Carolina gets to him. Larry Bain with a sack, and Carolina is racking up the sacks. You got potato, they got sack.
Man, that's up to 8 sacks for the Carolina defense. This defense is really playing well as a unit, and looks like everybody's getting in on the fun on that defensive side of the football.
Second and 17 from the 12. Mitchell in the shotgun will change the play 4 wide. Mitchell to throw. Out route caught there by Finch is good for 4. It'll be 3rd and 11 at the 17.
Not the shiniest play in the playbook, but it picked up almost half the yards you need to get that first down. So, it'll work for them. It was what they needed. It did stop the clock, however, so that's not good for them, unfortunately. They, being up, they want to run as much time off as they can, but they definitely want to convert on this 3rd down.
Mitchell pressured, fumbled, ball's on the turf, big boy with the football, coming back, and lucky St. Louis is to have fallen on that one. That could have spelled disaster. Back in the backfield to make the play was Bo Rivers Monroe.
What a scary play. When he got hit and that ball got picked up, I thought he was going to run it all the way back into the end zone, but he stopped at the 1-yard line, cut back up the field. Good job picking up that football and keeping it alive. Unfortunate fumble for St. Louis. They're definitely going to have to punt that ball and give Carolina some good field position coming back the other way.
Heels on the back of the end zone for the punter, Bo Zabrowski. 6'4", 250 is Zabrowski, and he gets this one off with no pressure coming from the Skyhawks. They're going to set up to return. Prasad, spin move. Oh, almost made it out, but a good special teams tackle at the 30-yard line. After that first spin, Marcus, I got a little nervous.
I thought he was going to get out of there, but it was a good thing there was a second person there for St. Louis to make sure he did not do that. So now it's time to see, with amazing field position for Carolina, already in field goal range, what they're going to come up with on this drive.
Biddix to throw on 1st and 10. Well protected, wants the deep ball, and he almost had it. It was in and out of the hands of the receiver, L.B. Allen III. It'll fall harmlessly incomplete, but a nice shot by Carolina to start the drive.
St. Louis making good contact with the receiver to make sure he wasn't able to catch the ball. Went for a second maybe to hit it and just said, you know what, I think I'll hit you instead, and did a good job, just ran straight into him.
Marquise Reed, the strong safety, making that, or the free safety, making that play, was the strong safety in Vancouver last season. Was there for the first 3 seasons of his career, and in St. Louis, he has made quite a few plays this season for the Glads. 2 to the top of the screen, 2 in the backfield for Biddix on a pivotal drive here for the Skyhawks. Handoff Mercury. Mercury falls forward for 2, and sometimes it's good to make sure the defense isn't sleeping.
Yep, so right now, Randy Mercury is doing a good job of making sure that clock moves a little bit, because they don't want to give St. Louis a ton of time left if they can start working on that as well. But you never know when Randy Mercury is going to break one for a big run.
3rd and 8. Just under 6 minutes to play. Biddix fires outside, and that is incomplete. Hudson could not keep the feet in bounds, and I don't know if I agree with the out route.
Yeah, it's one of those things where maybe they thought they could just pick up a few yards and kick the field goal, but you need more than a field goal in this game. You probably should have done something to target in front of the first down marker.
Well, Ezekiel Klein is on. From here, it would be about a 44-yarder if my math is correct, and it probably isn't. Snap back, hold is down. Carolina gets the kick away, and it is good from 45. Punches it through, and Carolina draws within 3.
Carolina has really done a good job of forcing the football back to their side of the field, especially on the last drive, where they made a good sack and good fumble attempt. They've really kept pushing St. Louis back, and then they were able to get some points. Makes it a very manageable game now. They're only down by 3, so a field goal will tie the game up for Carolina if they're able to get one.
And that was a good kick. Probably would have made that from 48 or 49. Ezekiel Klein doing work for his dad and their hometown team, the Carolina Skyhawks. return here for St. Louis is important, and it will come out to the 31, and that is where Moody Mitchell will bring the offense back out. 5:48, so not enough, usually not enough time to burn the clock. So you got to just pick up first downs and get going to where you can.
It's not panic time quite yet for St. Louis, but it's time for them to start moving down the field and trying to get points, because they can't afford to be giving the ball back to Carolina if they're not going to be scoring any points.
Dwayne Schindler in the chat saying that St. Louis should play more conservative. Well, here's conservative for you. An out route to Nick Finch, and he's got the first down to the 41. The team on the field says conservative schmervative. We're going for it.
It's a good play by them. Picks up that first down. It looks like the clock is going to be stopped for now, which is okay. Points are more important. As long as they can score, that'll put a lot of pressure on Carolina to either get a touchdown, or it may be just enough to even win them the game.
2 to the top of the screen. Strong I formation here. They will check it out to Diaz off the right-hand side, and Diaz will pick up 5 on the screen pass. Nice run out there.
Good job for Diaz to catch that. I wish they would have thrown a little bit earlier. I think they could have gotten a few more yards if Moody Mitchell would have tossed it out to Diaz immediately after the ball was snapped. But you never know how many defenders there were going to be. And there just weren't any Carolina defenders around Diaz when he caught the football.
Shotgun run for Diaz, and he will lose a yard, if not just get back to the line of scrimmage. DJ Majesty was there. That keeps the clock running, but it sets them up for an interesting 3rd and 6.
There was a good block ahead of Diaz, but he was just caught up from behind, which was great for Carolina. And now they need to figure out the best way to get 6 yards to keep this drive going.
35% on 3rd down is the Gladiators, averaging 4.7 yards per first down. So that would not do it. They're going to need a big play here on a pivotal play in the game. Mitchell stands in the pocket, throws down the field, and it is picked off! Carolina takes it away! Number 43 for the Skyhawks, making the play on the defensive side. Johnny Savage, the rookie.
That is the kind of play you need to get back into this game. And I thought for a second maybe his wide receiver was going to have that football, but Savage just got over him and got that football. And that's a kind of mistake that's going to potentially cost you dearly so close to the end of the game.
First and 10 for Biddix. Here he'll flip it out to Mercury. Oh, Mercury clocked on the outside. He'll pick up just a yard.
Mercury so far just has not been able to quite get moving in the running game. It looks like he's got 22 yards so far in this game on 14 attempts, around 1.6 yards per carry. So trying to see if Mercury can just break one, but the passing game is where the yards are at in this game for Carolina.
2 receivers top of the screen for Biddix. Mercury, the lone man in the backfield. A 2 tight end set on the bottom of the screen for Biddix on 2nd and 9. Throws the corner route. Got it! Harish Prasad down the right-hand sideline in a foot race. Down to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Harish Prasad is in! Carolina takes the lead!
First thing St. Louis tried to do was go for the football and get an interception. Just was not able to get in front of Prasad. Prasad caught it, came down, and just ran very quickly, and St. Louis could not catch him. Made a dive, couldn't make it, and there's a good touchdown for him as well. And now that wide receiver battle between Hudson and Prasad, it looks like Prasad's back in the lead with a few more yards and now a touchdown as well.
Harish Prasad takes the cap off of the St. Louis defense, and now they will try and add the extra point, a very pivotal extra point, the difference between a field goal and a touchdown in this game for St. Louis if they're trying to get back into it.
It's going to be a... Sorry.
Nope. Kick is good, 4:07, and it is a 4-point difference. St. Louis will have to find their way into the end zone if they want to get back in this one.
Getting a little bit ahead of myself, and I do apologize, but it's such a close game, and St. Louis really now has the pressure on them to try to get some points to get back in front of this game.
Return here will come out across the 25, across the 30, into the open field, down the right-hand side. Is anyone going to catch him? Yes, the kicker brings him down at midfield. I thought he might have broken it. What a return for the Gladiators. It ignites the fans here at Budweiser Stadium. Jacob Swaim, what a return.
That was an amazing return. Found space out to the outside, and I was not sure who was going to be able to catch him, but it was good they had a couple defenders and they had the kicker able to get it. It looks like even if the kicker wasn't there, they still would have forced him out maybe 5 yards down, but that's going to give St. Louis great field position and catapult them into a good opportunity to try to take advantage of that and try to get the points they need in this game.
Just under 4 minutes, 3 timeouts for the Gladiators. They're down by 4 at home in front of this Budweiser Stadium crowd. Play action play. Late blitz was coming, but Mitchell floats a dime, and it's a great catch by Cody Scott, who's been quiet tonight.
Good play, good first down. Carolina was in the backfield. They were chasing him down, but Mitchell made a great play to get rid of the football. And now they need to get to that end zone. They're getting close to field goal range, but field goal is not going to cut it unless they can force a stop on Carolina. They really need to get into the end zone.
Just the second catch from Cody Scott tonight. Handoff, Diaz clocked.
Running on Diaz definitely did not work on that play, and Shervon Prasad has 8 tackles and 2 for a loss. So great game for him and almost pretty much everybody on the Carolina defense when you look at how many sacks they have in this game.
Twins to the bottom of the screen. Mitchell floats it out to Diaz on the left-hand side. Diaz repays the tough hit and picks up a few before going out of bounds at the 37. 3rd and 8, an important third down.
A lot of running when you definitely need those yards. You definitely don't want to be in a 3rd and long situation because now you really need to pick up those yards. I mean, you're close to field goal range. You might be able to make a kick depending on where we're at. I think we might be a little bit too far out, but they need points to stay in this game. They really do.
Be about a 53, 54 yarder from here, so they need at least 5 or 6 if they want to attempt it. Here is Mitchell, out route there, caught, first down, but Iranjlani, Mr. Third Down, hauls it in there at the 29. That was a clutch play.
There's a reason Badir Ashlani has over 180 yards in this game. He's just been the person that's been bailing him out on these huge passing plays. You know, the other wide receivers and tight ends for St. Louis able to catch a pass here and there, but nobody's been as consistent as Ashlani has been for this offense.
2 to the top of the screen. Mitchell in the shotgun with Denzel to his left. He will flip it out to Nick Finch. Finch gets out of bounds at the 23, a 5-yard catch for him.
So we're getting under 3 minutes in this game where we're in a unique situation where we see, well, how much time does St. Louis want to try to take off the clock before they attempt to get into that end zone and give the ball back potentially to Carolina? You know, you got to make some game management decisions here because if you give the ball back with too much time, even if you score, Carolina can come back and score right on you, and then you might be out of time. Very
true. Very true. Split receivers, 2 to the top, 1 to the bottom for Mitchell in the shotgun. Well protected. Now a little pressure. He fires to the end zone. Touchdown, St. Louis Gladiators. I believe it was Nick Finch with the catch, and it's 6 for the Glads.
Great play so far by Finch. Just found himself some open space in the end zone. Going to give the ball back with a little bit of time left to Carolina, but it looked like the ref there got knocked over and nobody quite stayed with him. Somebody tried to get a hand on that football, but just couldn't do it. A bit of a mismatch on that defense left Finch open in the end zone.
But Iranjlani, was the one who made the catch. And a nice grab from him, a good route to run through the referee and kind of cause a pick play. And now St. Louis will try and reset the lead at 3. Snap back kick is up and through. It is 27-24, a 3-point lead for St. Louis at home. Carolina will get the ball back with 2:47 in all 3 timeouts. And here we go again, Marcus.
If you're a fan of heart-stopping football, this has been quite a fourth quarter we've had so far. Both teams racking up the points right before the end of the game.
Kick is away, and the SFL is brought to you by ScoreStream. Spy Goat, and down the right-hand sideline, Harish Prasad! Forget the drive! Carolina only needs the return! They're in, and they retake the lead, and Moody Mitchell has got to be on the bench kicking himself.
You know, I was about to say, how long is it going to take Carolina to try to go back and score? And man, did they bring it right back to St. Louis. And I would say a single play was just a single kickoff, just made somebody miss, got to the outside, got a perfect block, and from there it looks like he was just gone. Great play that worked out in tandem by all members of the receiving team on that particular play. Now you're looking at the pressure being all the way back on St. Louis again.
Mike B in the chat says, is this real life? And I tell you what, if it's not, this is some sick dream for the St. Louis Gladiators fans here in attendance, because they have just been dragged all over, whether it's the highs or the lows of this game. With 2:35 left to go in the fourth, we are the last SFL game on the air currently. The two other games have gone final. San Francisco defeats Tallahassee 27-24, and the Denver Nightwings blanked the Indianapolis Spitfire. I believe it was 19-0, might have been the final, and they will clinch their playoff spot, and they're going to clinch an at least top 6 spot with the win. They won 26-0. So now, in this one, 31-27, Carolina on top, and St. Louis will have 2:35 and 3 timeouts to try and get themselves back into this one. This return will come out by Swaim across the 34.
I watched him go off to the left side, and I thought, oh man, is he going to break this one away too? It seemed like it was one of those runs where, you know, you just get around one person, you have a great lane to run, and just couldn't quite do it. But we've seen plenty from Badir and Moody Mitchell to say they definitely have the opportunity and the potential to run down this field, and we'll see what they're going to do here.
3 receivers split out, 2 backs in the backfield for Mitchell to throw. Mitchell stands in the pocket, will check down to Diaz out of the backfield. Diaz can't make the first man miss. Prasad brings him down at the 37. Second down, 7 to go. Mitchell running the hurry up, will throw again, fires on the out route. That one is caught and out of bounds with 7 seconds to spare. Tito Moss, a great grab. They're going to get another playoff before the 2-minute warning.
Definitely good to move up the field as far as you can before the 2-minute warning, and a great job of getting out of bounds. Looked like nobody was around him. I'm not sure what happened on the coverage of that side. I don't think anybody followed him, and by the time they realized he was over there, it was too late.
2:07 left to go in the fourth. And this one, if you guys have not been watching, has been a back-and-forth game. It started out as a defensive battle, but has now turned into some offensive firepower. Mitchell to throw. Out route here is caught by Finch, turned upfield, and Finch gets 9. And again, they're going to have another play before the 2-minute warning. St. Louis is using every opportunity here.
Look at them take as much of that time of the clock as they can, you know. They started with, what, about 10, 12 seconds, and look how far they moved on the field in just a couple seconds, you know. This will probably be the last play before the 2-minute warning, but it can potentially, it's already put them on the other side of the field, and, you know, they're already in Carolina territory.
2nd and 1, a playmaker's dream. Time to take a shot if you want to. Twins to this near side, and Mitchell will throw the out route there. Caught, turned upfield, but Iraj Lani with a nice move to the 31, and that brings us to the quick 2-minute warning. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Andy Hamilton, Marcus Dunhill here. We're going to strap in for the final 2 minutes as Diaz takes the left-hand carry, and he's brought down at the 31-yard line, 2nd and 11. Now they're going to go hurry up. 3 to the top of the screen for Mitchell, throwing the out route there. Caught, turned upfield. Tito, no, Cody Scott to the pylon. Touchdown, Gladiators. They retake the lead with 1:40 to go.
Look at that hurry-up offense, and that worked incredibly well for St. Louis. They were able just to get the ball out to the right side, and he was able to get around the defender. Great play, probably the best play for Cody Scott tonight. Able to catch the ball. Linebackers weren't able to stay with him, and then he cut around the corner and just got away from him. And man, great play to the end zone, puts St. Louis in a great position going into the last 2 minutes of this game.
Cody Scott, a versatile tight end in both the receiving and the blocking game, has had a quiet night tonight, but he makes the catch and the run when it matters and puts the Gladiators on top. But still time left on the ticker, and Carolina will bank on that and their 3 timeouts. The extra point is up and good, 34-31, a 3-point difference. The Skyhawks find themselves down by a field goal.
What a game so far, especially in this particular quarter. They just keep passing the hot potato back and forth, and both teams doing extremely well. But unfortunately, one of them's probably going to end up holding the hot potato a little bit too long, and neither team wants to be that team.
No one wants to have mashed potatoes and sour cream all over their hands when the clock strikes 0. Here goes Prasad off the right side. Prasad! Oh my goodness, he's still on his feet! Out to the 34, some determined running from Harish Prasad.
Prasad really just trying to say, okay, let's see if we can do it again, and doing just about everything he can to get away, and he just can't quite do it. So now it's back on Vidics and their passing attack to see if they can get the win in this game. 94
seconds remain. Mark Vidics, 60% completion percentage tonight. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for bad boy Vidics. He fires down the field. Oh, and it's taken away. Colin Douglas near side. He could go. Colin Douglas to the pylon. Put it on the board, as Michael Turillo would say. 6 points for St. Louis.
That is going to make things extremely hard for Carolina going into the end of this game, but an amazing job by Colin Douglas getting right in front of that football. And my goodness, he just read it and jumped right over it and took it straight out of their hands, and away he went. And just nobody was able to catch up. There was a couple blocks, and couldn't make it, and a pick 6, unfortunately for Vidics, is going to make it a very tough situation going into the end of this game here. Potentially down now by potentially by 10 points if they're able to make this extra point.
Ice in his veins. Colin Douglas takes the interception and returns it for a pick 6, and Mark Vidics throws an interception that is ill-advised, and that's going to make it real tough for the Skyhawks to get back in this one. Down by 9 with 1:22 left to go. Not impossible, though.
Now they're going to have to make some magic, get a touchdown, and then see if they can get an onside kick, maybe. It's definitely happened plenty of times before, and who knows, they could run this kick back, and then you're in good position already. So we'll see what Carolina's got up their sleeves.
Kick is away, and we'll see what the Skyhawks can do with the end of this game. Prasad angles it out across the right, and he will get to the 29-yard line. 1:18 and all 3 timeouts.
Outran one of his blockers on the right side, and I think that potentially could have cost him a touchdown on that return, but that's okay. There's still some time left on the clock, but they need to score fast, and they need to get that onside kick.
10-point ball game here at Budweiser Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri. Andy Hamilton along with Marcus Dunhill. The last SFL game on tonight. Vidics fires far side, caught. Great catch on the sideline. Dupree Hudson hauls it in and taps the toes.
Great play to minimize the time used on the clock. They need every second they can get now that they're down by 10 points going into the
one-handed
minute into the game.
One-handed, too. I didn't even see that. Great catch from Hudson. Minute and 14 left to go in the fourth. 1st and 10. 2 backs in the backfield. Twins to the bottom of the formation. They've scored once from this formation on a deep throw. We'll see what Vidics will dial up here. Short and he throws there, and that is incomplete into a lot of traffic.
That was incredibly close to being picked as well. It's just the pressure might be getting to Vidic a little bit in the end of this game, and that's too bad for Carolina. They were in a really good position a little bit ago, and they still can make this, but it's going to be a bit harder.
From the 42, 70 seconds left to go on the clock. Biddix to fire it. Will swing it out to Mercury. Mercury is brought down, and Carolina will use their first timeout with 1:05 left to go.
Time to regroup and see if you can find a way to get down the field, because you don't want to end up on 4th down, and you're not in field goal range either. So you got to figure out a way to convert this.
3rd and 7. 4 receivers split out. Mercury, the lone man in the backfield. 3-2 look out of the Gladiators with an extra man floating. They will rush 4. Biddix fires down the middle of the field. Picked off, and that should be the dagger in the hearts of Skyhawks fans. It's taken away by Ethan Kai, the 6-foot second-year man.
Man, just way too many interceptions, and I believe that might be Ethan Kai's 2nd interception of the game. I definitely need to check into that, but he's been playing well all game and doing a great job for them. Yep, the 2nd interception of the game. Unfortunately, 2 of Vidic's interceptions are on back-to-back drives in under 2 minutes in the 4th quarter.
2 late ones, too. He started the game perfect, 100% on the opening 2 drives, then started to waver a little bit, got back into a rhythm, and then down the stretch fell apart a little bit, and it was just enough for the Gladiators to edge out in front, but still one of the better games that we've seen here at Budweiser Stadium this season.
It definitely was, and one of the little facts that I had up my sleeve depending on the outcome of the game was that if St. Louis had lost this game, if I had done my math correctly, I believe they would have secured the #1 draft pick. But as they continue and win this game, that first draft pick is still up for grabs for just about anybody.
And Moody Mitchell will take the knee. He was the #1 draft pick overall last season. St. Louis, obviously, while they would like to have the best player in the draft, you'd like to improve every year and not have the first-round pick year after year. So I'm sure this means a lot to them to have the opportunity to move back into either the 2, 3, or 4 slot, depending on the outcome of later games. I am no mathematician. I'll leave all of that up to Cameron Irvine. But for the Gladiators tonight, it should be a win.
They've definitely played good, and their defense really did a good job forcing those mistakes from Biddix, and then the offense on St. Louis did an amazing job where you see Vadir Zalani go ahead and get 217 yards so far and 2 touchdowns. And then you see 380 yards from Moody Mitchell and 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, so it seems like just about a coin flip to see which one of those 2 is going to be player of the game.
4th and 15. And St. Louis will have to punt it away. Kick is off, and the return will come out from Prasad to the 30-yard line. 9 seconds to go, and they need 10 points. So they just got to, it's real easy, Marcus. They would just have to score 1.2 points or something like that per second.
Need to get their ball the fastest person, because they got to get to the end zone with a second left, and then they pretty much have to return the onside kick for a touchdown probably to be able to win this game.
Yeah, that would be something. Somehow I think St. Louis probably feels pretty safe. Biddix to fires the corner route, and that is incomplete. 5 seconds to go here, 2nd and 10. It was knocked away on the St. Louis side by Drew Reilly, who's been quietly having a good game tonight.
Now I don't think we have enough fast enough person to be able to get to the end zone in 5 seconds, so I think that'll be it for this particular game. However, we're going to see 1, maybe 2 more plays from Carolina, see if they can pull off some trickery and get into the end zone.
You never know. You never know. But for St. Louis, should be a victory, and that will be good for them. I'm sure they will enjoy that one in the locker room. These late season victories, always good to start building on next season and kind of see what you have and what you can work on. Biddix fires down the middle of the field. That one is hauled in. Oh, no, incomplete. And that will take us to the end of the game. The Gladiators win 41-31. Marcus, your thoughts?
I think overall it was a great game by both teams. You just kind of see those issues at the end that really compounded on Carolina. But you could see in the fourth quarter, both teams were really giving it back to each other, score after score from both teams, and it was anybody's game for a very long time. It really wasn't the biggest running game from either team, although Diaz got loose a little bit and had quite a few more rushing yards than Randy Mercury did. But the passing was acceptable for both teams, 276 yards passing for the Skyhawks and around 380 from St. Louis. So St. Louis did enough things right to be able to come away with the win. But then you also look at the Carolina defense, which had 8 sacks in this game. Just so much right by both teams, and then those errors at the end just compounded way too much for Carolina and potentially cost them that particular win. However, you saw great football from both sides.
Mark Biddix ends the day 20 of 37, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Moody Mitchell on the day 36 of 42 for 85% completions, 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Mitchell quietly had a very good day. Badir Ajlani, 217 yards on 14 catches for 2 touchdowns. I think it's got to be him for player of the game. What do you think, Marcus?
That's close, but I wonder if they'll give it to Moody Mitchell with his 4 touchdowns and 380 yards. But I do think Ajlani really deserves to be player of the game, especially with the production he had compared to the other 2 receivers, tight end and receiver for St. Louis, who together had about 95 yards, and then Ajlani had 217. So, it was really, he was leagues above the others in production in this game.
On the defensive side of the ball, Phil Hall, 3 sacks today for the Carolina Skyhawks. And on the St. Louis side, they had 4 passes deflected from Marquise Reed and 2 interceptions for Ethan Kai. So some good plays all across the board. There you see the Harish Prasad touchdown return. And on this one, Moody Mitchell finds Cody Scott for what would be the game-winning touchdown down the right-hand sideline. Scott, quiet all night, but did catch the one when it counted.
Yep, he definitely did. He made a good play, really helped his team as well. And that, you could look at that particular play as something that also helped secure that win for St. Louis.
And the Colin Douglas pick 6 to cap it all off, and then the final interception here from Ethan Kai to finish it off for the Gladiators. What a defensive performance. 41 points on the offensive side of the ball, held the Skyhawks to 31. They bent, but they held them when it mattered. And now your extraordinary Everest player of the game. Badir Ajlani with 14 receptions, 219 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What a night for him, and what a night for the SFL. Week 12 action has concluded. We will see you next week for the SFL Blitz and the conclusion of the regular season as we head towards the playoffs. Marcus and Charles, thanks for joining me in the booth.
Thanks, Andy. Good night, everybody, and see you guys for week 13 next week.